And good evening. Welcome to Back to School Night here at Glasgow Middle School. For the video, if you need a translation, you can listen to it or follow along with it with closed captions in Spanish or in Arabic, and you just select the language that you need in the subtitles. So I want to welcome you to Science 6. My name is Sky Oliver. Of course, the students call me Miss Oliver. In case you get emails from a Colton Oliver or updates from Colton Oliver, that is also me. Colton is my first name, but Sky is my middle name, which is what I go by. I know it can be a little confusing, but just so that you have that frame of reference. A little bit about me. I do have my master's degree in elementary education, where I got that from West Virginia University, where I also received my bachelor's degree as well. Grew up in a military family. So my dad was Army, which was great. And I know I've met some military students here, which is really awesome to have that connection with them. I love cats. The cats have already met my new kitten, Merlin. Tends to come to class. It's a little distracting, but they love to see him. I have been teaching for this is my 5th year now. And for the past few years, I was still in Fairfax County, but I was teaching 5th grade. So I was teaching in that elementary setting. So I was teaching all those subjects of reading, writing, science, all of that. And I really just wanted to focus my energy on, one subject and one that I really had a passion for, which is science, of course. And then there's a couple little fun facts about me. So for learning in science, these are my personal beliefs in, the classroom, and not really just in science, but this is how I approach my elementary setting as well. So I believe that students learn best when they have, a connection with the content. So they do those hands-on projects and activities. So they get that meaningful learning in there. I also think it's important that students have the opportunity to explore the content on their own. If they just learn the information from me and I blather on for a long time, that's not as meaningful as their own, personal interest in it, their own exploration in there. I also think it's important that they have the opportunity to have a choice in how they show their understanding. So we'll offer different outlets for projects or a way to approach a project. So I know right now we're building models of the solar system. So we've offered them, a virtual way of doing it, or they could have done it, at home with objects that they found at their house. And I also think it's important that students work with one another. I always say you don't have to be best friends with everyone in the classroom, but we do need to learn to work with them in a respectful manner. It's preparing them for the real world. You don't get to choose who you work with when you're an adult, but you have to work with them, bottom line. I also believe that students, to be successful within my own room, is that they're on time for class. I understand that being in this virtual setting, the technology can really slow us down. You can always send me an email. If you do show up late for a technology issue, just let me know. I'll be very understanding because sometimes my technology isn't always the best. I also think it's very important that students engage in the discussions and the activities, whether they're engaging verbally through their microphones or whether engaging in the chat. I think it's very important that they do that because, again, they're getting comfortable with talking and they're sharing their thinking. So again, getting that other next level of understanding. And I feel they're not going to have as great a connection with the content if they're not putting themselves out there. I also think it's important that they do work collaboratively with their peers. Learning to disagree with someone very respectfully is not always the easiest thing, but it's a critical skill to have. And I also think it's very important that students ask for help when they need it. I understand this virtual world, it's a little bit harder. I don't have that in-person, relationship with them just yet. So I can't read their moods. I can't read their body language. So I really need them to be open and transparent with me. So I can help them and support them in any way that they need. I really can't help a problem that I don't know about. So it's very important to me that they express what they need from me. Breakdown of our curriculum. Currently, we are in our astronomy unit. The way the units work, it's 1 unit per quarter. So unit 1, quarter 1, we're in astronomy. So we're learning about those astrological bodies and then the types of planets within our solar system. In unit 2, we're going to be learning about weather. So those storms, and cloud formations, and then the layers of the atmosphere and the characteristics of those. Unit 3, we'll talk about H2O, so the properties of water. And Unit 4, we'll talk about sources of energy, so those renewable versus non-renewable energy sources. For grading and assignments, they're going to have formative assessments, or grading and assessments, my bad. They'll have formative assessments, which are just like little check-ins for understanding during the learning process. So they'll be within the lessons, kind of embedded in there. So it might be a discussion prompt. It might be, group work activity, any just like little check-ins here or there that I can look back on and, see how they're doing. Some of the assessments are more of like those big like unit tests that you think about. And it's really just kind of an understanding of what they retained throughout the whole unit. Other feedback your students will get, about being organized or how they're behaving in school will be on their report card. They will also have grades for their asynchronous and homework on their report cards as well. So for homework, I don't necessarily really give it out throughout the week. So Tuesday through Friday, any homework that they would have is just work that they didn't finish in class. The asynchronous work is only for Mondays. So for teacher support, I do have office hours. My office hours are every Monday from 10 to 10:45, and then every Wednesday from 2:30 to 3:30. There will be a syllabus on Blackboard and Google Classroom. My contact information is also on Blackboard and Google Classroom. And then the grid. So every week there will be a grid posted, and the grid breaks down the learning targets and their evidence of learning for that week. And then you can always email me at csoliver@fcps.edu. That's my Outlook email, and that's the one I prefer to be contacted through. It's just easiest. It comes to my phone. I can see it. I can respond as quickly as I can. The students tend to use the Gmail, which is fine. But I prefer, the fcps.edu one. Ways that you can support your child. So you're at home with them, which, I don't have that ability. So it's really great if you could ask them like, hey, like, what are you learning in class? Or can you show me your grid? So again, they're showing you what is expected of them throughout the week. Any homework, you could ask them like, what assignments do you have to do? What do you need to complete them? Or let's look at this together. If you and me and your child can work together, that's the best way that we can support them. Any supplies, they don't really need supplies. The most important thing they have access to is, of course, their computer and the internet, because that's how we meet. That's how we turn in all our assignments. So if something's not working, it's really important that you let me know so we can get that fixed for them. I know that they have an agenda where that they can write down any assignments that they would have to do, or quizzes or projects, any of that. And, I'm one who likes to jot down or take notes as I'm, learning. So if they want pencil or paper, they can do that. I've also offered the opportunity if they want to create a Google document and take notes through there, or a Word document, they can do it as well. And so I just, I'm looking forward to a really great year with your student. And, thank you for coming.